Hello, welcome to the first edition of The World Today in the month of December. Thank you for staying tuned to Channels Television. I'm Cynthia Awe. Here are our top stories. Now we start right here at home in Nigeria, where 2 bombs have gone off at the Maiduguri main market in Borno State, Nigeria's northeast region, leaving several people dead. Reports say that security and aid workers are trying to evacuate the dead and injured persons from the scene of the explosion. In addition to that, we also understand that the explosions were said to have been carried out by 2 female bombers who are said to have carried the explosives in the back of their hijab dresses, arrived at a hair braiding salon, and then blew themselves up as a female civilian JTF operatives person tried to search them. In the past week, the same area has been targeted by suicide bombers where they killed several people. Now, based on what we just told you, still on the Damaturu attack, our correspondent says the militants who surrounded the town began shooting sporadically at as early as 5:55 a.m. today, forcing residents to flee in droves. Now, although there is a military presence there, there is still a restraint to open fire as the operatives are being careful to avoid shooting innocent citizens.
To you now. Honestly, the whole town is in disarray. People are trying to run out. They don't know where to go as I speak to you.
What about the military? Is there anyone in sight? Have you been able to see any of the agencies or their formation? What exactly has happened? Because we understand that, well, there are pockets of soldiers in Damaturu before now. Have you seen any?
Well, there are presence of security forces across town. And to be honest with you, the military are trying to be very, very professional in their repelling the attack because of the innocent civilians who are trying to run to safe areas. And when I was running out of my house, I saw very heavy military vehicles stationed at strategic locations. But people are running helter-skelter because they don't really know who is an insurgent and who is a security force. So these people who are so used to the crisis, people are trying to run to safe areas, but you don't really know where is safe and where is not safe because the gunshot is everywhere within town. And as I speak to you right now, people are just packed in one house, either offices or whatever. Nobody has access to his own home now because you are afraid they could come and burn the house and kill the people. The situation is really pathetic. But to be honest with you, there are presence of security. But if the insurgents can come early in the morning to attack a whole state capital, then you should know very well they are leaving no stone unturned to take over this town. And I can assure you with the kind of gunshots I was hearing around town, honestly, we really need immediate intervention of security forces if they want to salvage the life of innocent citizens who are in the town at the moment.
Now, outside of our shores, but still within the African continent, a Tunisian policeman has been beheaded by Islamist militants in an attack near the Algerian border. An Interior Ministry spokesman said the officer and his brother had been seized from their car in the Kef area of northwest Tunisia, and the brother was later released, but the officer was killed by his abductors. The attack came as Tunisia prepares for a presidential election runoff this month, in the latest stage of its transition to democracy. Now to health matters. The head of the United Nations Ebola response mission in West Africa has revealed that there is still a huge risk that the deadly disease could spread to other parts of the world. Tony Banbury didn't say if targets he'd set in the fight against Ebola had been met, which was supposed to have been achieved by today, but the targets were for the proportion of people being treated for the safe burial of highly infectious bodies. The UN boss was speaking in Freetown, one of the worst affected areas. Now, in an ongoing dispute over the late Nelson Mandela's estate, legal bid by Winnie Madikizela Mandela to claim ownership of her ex-husband's Nelson Mandela's rural home has been opposed by the South African government. In court papers, Mrs. Mandela said the South Africa's first black president had unlawfully registered the property in his name. Mr. Mandela died nearly a year ago and left his wife out of his will. His ex-wife, I should say. His estate was provisionally valued at 46 million rand, and that's the thrice married Mr. Mandela divorced Mrs. Madikizela Mandela back in 1996.